thank you to Costa for inviting me here tonight. It is really a privilege to be amongst you this evening for a couple of reasons. I like to be surrounded by young people, dynamic, tech-savvy individuals like yourselves. You can see I still have a piece of paper. Everyone else presented on PowerPoint. I'm very old school. But it is really a privilege to be here this evening and to be able to share with you some of my experiences. You know, Tom mentioned that I work for one of the largest funds in the world. The Wellcome Trust is the second largest endowment. It has assets of $27 billion. And it invests across a multiple of assets, including private equity, venture capital. Wellcome was probably one of the first investors in eBay. Skype, Google, so all the names that you know, we invested in some of these companies very, very early on. You know, why did I leave that and come back to Zimbabwe? You know, why would I leave a $27 billion fund and come to an $8 billion economy? I ask myself that question all the time. To be honest, it's about vision. It's about believing in a better Zimbabwe. And today, I'm going to share with you my passion for Zimbabwe, my passion for this country, and my vision for a better Zimbabwe. But that vision starts with you. That vision starts with you sitting there. You know, before I left Wellcome, I read this quotation, and the quotation went something like this: "Your best investment decisions are often accompanied by loneliness and uncertainty." Your best investment decisions are accompanied by loneliness and uncertainty. And I'm sure the guys that pitched here tonight, for them it's probably been the most lonely journey ever. You know, there's nothing like being, you know, if you ever want to feel alone, become an entrepreneur. It's an amazing experience. So, you know, for me, but also, you know, one of the things that I want to talk about is failure. So we look at, you know, we think about entrepreneurship, and we think, you know, it's glitz and glamour. We see pictures of Richard Branson, you know, at Necker Island, and we think, you know, entrepreneurship is this amazing thing. Like, we all want to be entrepreneurs. But actually, entrepreneurship is straddled with failure. And I think it's important that we understand failure. If you want to be a good entrepreneur, you really need to understand failure. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about failure. The only reason I can talk about failure is because I've got a lot of experience at failure. Yeah, so failure happened to me quite early on in my life. Many of you, you know, will wonder when I tell you this, but I failed my O-levels. The very first time I took my O-levels, I failed. And I remember the head teacher calling my parents in, and I was sitting in the room with my parents, and the head teacher looked at my parents and said, "We don't think your son's cut out to be in education. He's not an academic. And you should really look at other alternatives for your child." So it made me feel very small. And you know, as the son of a shop owner, you know, Indians have shops, right? So we had a shop in Bulawayo called Anand Brothers, and I had this vision or this image of me standing behind the shop counter for the rest of my life. And so, you know, for me the options were very limited. Either I could choose to focus on my studies and really have a better vision for myself, or I could spend the rest of my life behind a shop counter. I mean, you know, Indians have the saying, behind shop counter stands for BSc, so I would have been a graduate anyway. But, you know, I set myself out to focus on my studies, and I, inspired by my guru, and you're all very religious and spiritual people. My guru is Satya Sai Baba, and inspired by him, I set out to repeat my O-levels. And then I went on and I did my A-levels. I surprised my parents, I can tell you. I was very, very surprised. But, you know, I went on to do my O-levels and my A-levels at the school that rejected me. The same head teacher that had told my parents, your son is not cut out, right, to be in school. I turned this around and went on to do my A-levels. Well, the rest is history. And I'll share with you, and I share this with humility, right? I'm not sharing it to brag about what I've achieved since, but I share this with true humility. And I went on to study economics at the University of Warwick, which is amongst the top 5 universities in the UK. After I graduated at the age of 25, my first job was at First Mutual Life, where I was appointed an analyst and then a fund manager. And I was responsible for about $100 million. And those were proper Zimbabwe dollars, not the Zimbabwe dollars that I used in 2008. But I managed a big pot of money, and we built one of the most successful unit trust businesses in Zimbabwe. And I was managing money at the age of 25. So I was one of the youngest fund managers in this country. In 1999, my fund was voted one of the best equity funds in Zimbabwe. In 2002, like many Zimbabweans, I left and went to the UK. As I said, I joined the Wellcome Trust. And you'd ask yourself, how did this little boy from Bulawayo, who failed his O-levels, get a job at the Wellcome Trust, which is one of the largest endowments in the world? There were over 400 applications, 7 rounds of interviews, psychometric tests. I mean, they did everything. And I got this job. And I'll tell you the reason why I think I got the job. I think the reason I got the job is, as Zimbabweans, we're different. As Zimbabweans, we're very hardworking, we're very dedicated, and we have vision. And for me, I knew I had the job before I even got the job. I believed that the job was mine. So, it's been an interesting journey. So coming back to failure, what did failing my O-levels teach me? Well, failing, teaches you some valuable lessons. It helps us to discover who we truly are. It helps us to dig deeper and to work harder. When we fail, we learn some of life's most valuable lessons. We learn to be humble, to be compassionate, and to be more understanding. More importantly, it drives us to succeed. You see, until you've stared failure in the face, you will never know what success looks like. I'm going to repeat that. Unless you've stared failure in the face, you will never know what success looks like or even feels like. So it's only when you hit rock bottom will you truly know who you are. It allows us to go within ourselves and to ask ourselves critical questions. Who am I? Where am I going? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are my hopes and aspirations? And for the young entrepreneurs that pitched here earlier, it's about knowing what it is that you want. What value can you bring to society? What value can you bring to people? It's not about money. The gentleman that presented earlier, you're not looking for $16,000. You've got an idea, you've got a concept. There's vision behind that concept. There's a reason why you want to do what you're doing. You're not looking for $16,000. Continue doing what you're doing, believe in what you're doing, you will have more than $16,000. The money will come. The other thing, that I want to share with you is entrepreneurship is a journey of love.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship is a journey of love. It's a journey of giving of yourself. It's a journey of self-discovery and transformation. There's nobody better than Steve Jobs, to teach us that valuable lesson. In the end, when he was diagnosed with cancer, there was very little he could do. There was no app that he could develop on the iPhone to cure his cancer. So, entrepreneurship is a journey of love. It's a journey of self-discovery. And there have been numerous examples of failure. One of the best examples that I like to illustrate this point is J.K. Rowling. I don't know how many of you have read Harry Potter and know of J.K. Rowling, but before she became famous, she got divorced. She lived as a single parent in a council estate in the UK. Her script for Harry Potter was rejected. almost 12 times. So, you know, why do I talk about failure? Why do I want to talk about the benefits of failure? Simply because failure means a stripping away of the inessential. Yeah? So failure is the stripping away of the inessential. I stopped pretending. When I failed my O-levels, I stopped pretending to myself that I was anything other than what I was, and began to direct my energy toward completing my studies. Had I really succeeded at anything else, and by the way, I was a great tennis player. You know, I was #1 in Maryland, but I don't think I would have ever got to Wimbledon. So had I been good at anything else, perhaps life would have been different for me. But I wasn't particularly good at anything else. So the only thing I could do was study. So I might never have found the determination to succeed. But I was alive, and I had a vision, and that vision was to better myself. So rock bottom became a solid foundation for me to rebuild my life. Almost everyone in this room has experienced failure at some point in your life. If you haven't, don't worry, it's coming. Guaranteed. Yeah. Failure is inevitable, as is success. You've all heard the saying, failure is the stepping stone to success. Well, if that's true, then I would have built the Great Wall to China by now. Over the last 5 years, my journey as an entrepreneur has been clouded with failure. However, we have also had some great successes. Last year, we were appointed lead advisors to 3 of the largest transactions on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. We did the $20 million bond issue for Binder and Nickel Corporation. We did the 10 million rights issue for Rio Zimbabwe, which is created is a company that employs 1,500 people. Binder and Nickel employs 2,000 people. So we were successfully able to raise capital for them to help expand their operations. I was also appointed to the board of the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, the subsidiary of the Reserve Bank called Zimbabwe Asset Management Company, ZAMCO, which was established to acquire the non-performing loans. I'm the youngest board member and chairman of the investment committee. So, you know, life hasn't been so horrible. I have had some success. But, you know, I want to remind you that entrepreneurship can be very lonely. So it's critical for you to surround yourself by like-minded people that share a common vision. And this is what I like about what Tom and Costa are doing. I think emerging ideas and this pitch night is a wonderful way, you know, platform for you to all get together and to really share your ideas and share your knowledge and share your experience. You know, you're not here to throw stones at people who are pitching ideas. You're not there to pick holes in the ideas. You know, one of the things that I sort of saw when people were asking questions, and yeah, you know, of course you want to show that you're smart and you can ask great questions, but support what somebody is doing. People are doing great things. Support and encourage what they're doing. Of course you can pick holes in anything anybody does, but also give some, you know, the one thing that I would say is compliment and encourage and support what people are doing. And I think if you do that, emerging ideas and this pitch night could become very, very successful. So what's my vision? I'm going to come back to this. What's my vision, you know, for a better Zimbabwe? You know, my vision is very simple. I really believe in a better Zimbabwe. My vision is to create a better Zimbabwe, a country where young people like you can realize your hopes and aspirations. Many of you are entrepreneurs not out of choice. It's out of circumstance. The situation, the economic conditions in Zimbabwe today have forced you to become entrepreneurial. It's because there's no jobs. And there's no jobs because of our economic policies and the management of our economy. So when that changes, your lives will change. Not all of us are cut out to be entrepreneurs, right? So you're there not because you want to be an entrepreneur, it's because circumstances have forced you to become an entrepreneur. Why do I believe that Zimbabwe can be better? I believe that Zimbabwe can be better because of the transformation that's taking place in the rest of Africa. So when you look at Africa today, and many of you young people have had the privilege and honor of going to Kenya. I know Costa was part of the young entrepreneurs that went to Kenya earlier this year. you begin to see the changes that are taking place in the rest of Africa. 6 of the 10 fastest growing economies in the world come from Africa. Africa is home to 1.2 billion people. 50% of Africa's population is under the age of 24. We have one of the youngest populations in the world today. That means by 2050, Africa will have a higher proportion of its population in the working age than China today. Get your head around that. By I think it's actually 2030, Africa will have a much higher proportion of working age population than China does. Which is why today they announced that they're scrapping the one-child policy. I was quite pleased to see that. They're scared of Africa, right? But Africa has tremendous resources. So does Zimbabwe. Africa has 60% of the world's arable land. What are we doing? In Zimbabwe, we have some of the most fertile agricultural land. All of you guys want to develop apps for schools and boarding schools and all of these wonderful things. Go and work the land. There are tremendous opportunities in agriculture.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah? So we really need to think about how we develop the agricultural resources in Zimbabwe. So the responsibility to drive Africa forward lies with each and every one of you. You are individually and collectively have a role to play. Sadly, Zimbabwe has not participated in the African Renaissance. Since the year 2000, Zimbabwe has stagnated and has been left behind. Between 2000 and 2008, Zimbabwe's economy shrunk by 50%, and per capita GDP today is lower than it was in 1960. So we're poorer as a country today than we were in 1960. Yeah? Zimbabwe's experienced failure on a grand scale. But I'm hopeful. I'm not a messenger of doom. Yeah? I am hopeful and I'm optimistic that Zimbabwe is on the cusp of change. One of your sponsors that were announced today is Food Lovers. When you look at how aggressively Food Lovers have expanded in Zimbabwe, you have to ask yourself the question, why? Yeah? And today, Food Lovers, I think, has something like 8 stores across the country. They see what Zimbabweans are failing to see. They see, where you see doom and gloom, they're seeing an opportunity. Yeah? So for me, they bring a renewed sense of hope and optimism. And I don't know if you've been to Food Lovers, but they make great smoothies too. Yeah? As Zimbabweans, we've become blinded by our own hopelessness and despair. We need to lift ourselves up and start to believe in a better Zimbabwe. We have learned valuable lessons from our failure. We need to ensure that we do not repeat the mistakes of the past. It is up to the next generation. It's your generation that can take Zimbabwe forward. This country has tremendous natural resources, but it's not our gold, it's not our diamonds. The greatest resource Zimbabwe has is its people. And I'm sure you've heard that before. Zimbabweans are well-educated, hard-working, and entrepreneurial. I'm almost finished. In closing, Zimbabweans have survived hyperinflation. Many of you sitting here today have seen your savings completely destroyed. Maybe not you, but your parents. You might not have had savings, you might have been in school. But many of our parents have seen their savings destroyed. But they've survived hyperinflation. And I can tell you as an economist, there are very few countries that could have gone through what Zimbabwe went through in 2008 and come out on the other side where we are today. And I think that's a great, great achievement for this country. Look at where Greece is. Greece is going to take another 10 years before it sees the light of day. So, I think that we are a great nation, we are a great people, but hyperinflation also taught us some very bad habits. I think hyperinflation was an incubator for bad habits. So some of us, I'm not talking about people in this room, I'm talking about the other people, have become lazy. Yeah? Some people have become lazy and believe in entitlement. Yeah? It's almost like the world owes us a favor. For me, indigenization is about empowerment. It's about giving people an opportunity to create a business and to create a vision and to build a business. Indigenization is not about taking 51% of someone else's dream, making it your own. It's about creating your own dream, your own vision, your own future. So, I also believe that so many Zimbabweans have left the country, and I believe those Zimbabweans will come back to Zimbabwe. I did. I left a huge fund to come back to Zimbabwe. So I do believe that Zimbabwe has a bright future. Your vision, your hopes, your aspirations can drive this country forward. Individually and collectively, you have a responsibility to build a better Zimbabwe. Emerging Ideas is a wonderful platform for you to grow and share these ideas. There's an African proverb which I really like. It's one of the African proverbs that I love the most, right? It says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Let's build a better Zimbabwe together, and let us use our failures as a foundation for growth and transformation. Our time has come. Thank you.